The phone rang at 2:47 a.m., piercing through Sarah's exhausted sleep like a knife through silence. As a single mother working double shifts at the diner, she knew calls at this hour meant only one thing: a trouble. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she fumbled for the phone, expecting to hear news about her teenage son Marcus, who'd been staying late at basketball practice more often than usual. Instead, a trembling elderly voice whispered words that would shatter everything she thought she knew about her life. "Sarah, is this Sarah Chen?" This is Eleanor Whitman, I think. I think I'm your grandmother." Sarah's world tilted on its axis. Grandmother? The word felt foreign on her tongue. She'd grown up believing she had no family beyond Marcus, that her parents had died in a car accident when she was 3, leaving her to bounce through foster homes until she aged out at 18. Now, at 34, the possibility of blood relatives seemed like a cruel joke. "I'm sorry, but you must have the wrong number," Sarah managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't have any grandparents." The silence stretched between them, filled with decades of separation and misunderstanding. When Eleanor spoke again, her voice cracked with emotion. "Your father. My son David. He told us you died in that accident too. We've been grieving you for 31 years. The phone slipped from Sarah's numb fingers, clattering onto the nightstand. She stared at the ceiling, processing words that seemed impossible. Her father alive, real familiar who thought she was dead. The foster care documents had been so final, so absolute in their declaration that she was truly alone in the world. 3 hours later, Sarah sat in her beat-up Honda outside a modest 2-story house in the suburbs, hands shaking as she gripped the steering wheel. She'd called in sick to work for the first time in 2 years, leaving Marcus with their neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez while she drove across town to meet a woman who claimed to share her DNA. Eleanor Whitman answered the door before Sarah could even knock. She was smaller than Sarah had imagined, with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun and Sarah's eyes red from crying. They stood for an eternal moment, two strangers connected by blood and separated by lies, neither knowing how to bridge 31 years of absence. "You look just like him," Eleanor whispered, reaching out hesitantly to touch Sarah's face. "Like David when he was young, before the drugs took him away from us." Inside the house, Eleanor's husband George sat in a worn leather chair, oxygen tank beside him, his weathered hands clutching a photo album. Sarah learned that her father had struggled with addiction, that he'd taken her from the grandparents who'd been fighting for custody, that the accident had been real but only her mother had died. David had convinced everyone, including the authorities, that Sarah had perished too, then disappeared with her into a system that swallowed children whole. "We never stopped looking," George wheezed, his voice thick with years of regret. "Hired private investigators, called hospitals, even psychics. Eleanor used to drive through neighborhoods just hoping to catch a glimpse of you playing in someone's yard." The photo album revealed a life Sarah had never known existed: birthday parties thrown for a granddaughter who wasn't there, Christmas presents wrapped and saved in a closet upstairs, report cards they'd imagined she might have brought home. Eleanor had knitted sweaters in every size from toddler to teenager, never knowing her granddaughter was working in diners and sleeping in cars, struggling to survive. But the most shocking revelation came when Eleanor handed her a bank statement. "We've been putting money aside," she said quietly, "for your education, for your wedding, for whatever you might need when we found you. It's not much, but..." Sarah stared at the number on the page. $127,000. 31 years of grandparents' love, compound interest on hope, a college fund for a child they'd never forgotten. The number blurred as tears fell onto the paper. "I have a son," Sarah whispered, the words tumbling out between sobs. "Marcus. He's 15. He plays basketball and makes terrible jokes and thinks we're poor because I can only afford the generic cereal." Eleanor's face lit up like Christmas morning. "A great-grandson? Oh, George. Did you hear that? We're great-grandparents." The months that followed unraveled more truths. David had died 5 years earlier from an overdose, taking his secrets to the grave, never knowing that the family he'd run from had spent decades helping for his return too. Sarah learned that her mother, Linda, had been Eleanor's daughter-in-law for only 2 years, but loved like a daughter for life. The accident had been David's fault. He'd been driving under the influence, and the guilt had consumed him. Marcus was hesitant at first, suspicious of these elderly strangers who claimed to be family. But George's passion for basketball and Eleanor's chocolate chip cookies made from a recipe passed down 4 generations slowly won him over. Sarah watched her son experience something she'd never had. Grandparents who attended every game, who celebrated every small victory, who loved unconditionally. The college fund became Marcus's college fund, but more importantly, the house became their sanctuary. Sunday dinners replaced lonely TV meals. Eleanor taught Sarah how to cook the family recipes she'd never learned, while George shared stories about her father's childhood that painted him as more than just the addict who'd stolen her life. He'd been a boy who caught fireflies and built tree houses and loved his parents until the darkness swallowed him. 6 months after that first phone call, Sarah stood in Eleanor's kitchen, watching her grandmother teach Marcus how to fold dumplings for Chinese New Year, a tradition from Sarah's mother's side that Eleanor had learned and preserved, waiting for the day her granddaughter would come home to claim it. "How did you find me?" Sarah asked, the question that had haunted her since that night. Eleanor's answer was simple, profound, and heartbreaking in its beauty. "I never stopped believing you were alive. Every year on your birthday, I'd Google your name, call information, search social media. Last month, your picture appeared in the local newspaper. You'd helped that family whose house burned down, organized the fundraiser." The caption said Sarah Chen, and I just knew, a grandmother knows her own blood. The newspaper photo showed Sarah handing a check to a family who'd lost everything, Marcus beside her, both smiling despite having so little themselves. It was their kindness, their selfless act of community service, that had finally brought them home. As Sarah watched 3 generations of her family laughing together, she realized that sometimes the most profound changes come not from what we gain, but from discovering we were never truly alone. Love had been waiting, patient and enduring, for her to find her way back to it. The call that had changed everything hadn't just revealed a secret to it, had revealed that family isn't just about blood, but about the people who never stop loving you, even when they can't find you in the dark.